If Stripe is holding your money right now and you are getting nowhere with support, you are not alone. I've seen businesses with 10, 100,000 or even more money held by Stripe, and they are getting generic responses and they are turning in loops and going nowhere with the customer support of Stripe. Now, I understand how frantic this time is, and it must be scary, knowing that your funds are being held and you're trying to run a business and so forth. So in this video today, I'm going to explain why is Stripe freezing your funds in the first place, and more importantly, what you can do in order to get your funds back as fast as possible. If you listen to the end, I will give you a surefire way that you will get your money back as quickly as possible and without using a lawyer. So my name is Maria Sparagas, and I've been in payment processing for over 20 years. I have helped thousands of merchants get out of Stripe jail and figure out their payment processing so they can scale their business effectively. And I really want to dive in today on how you are going to get your money back from Stripe and make sure that they don't hold any funds in the future. So why does Stripe freeze your funds in the first place? One thing you have to understand is that Stripe is not a bank. A lot of, different merchants and business owners call Stripe a bank. They are not. They are a payment processor, and they are a specific type of payment processor, which is called a PSP, a payment service provider, which means that they have one big merchant account and they subdivide it amongst a lot of different merchants in different categories. So their job is really to make sure that risk is mitigated, that they don't suffer any losses. So the one thing to keep in mind is that Stripe is not judging you or your business specifically. Their main goal is to make sure that risk is mitigated and they don't suffer any losses. So if, for example, you have a huge spike in volume, you go from 50,000 to 100 in 1 month, and it just really happens very quickly. Or if you have more chargebacks than you usually do, or refunds go from 7% to 12%, that's another trigger that causes them to investigate and see that there are potential losses for them. And obviously, if you are a new business and you're just starting and the volume's kind of flip-flopping around, or you have very high tickets, or you're in an industry that they consider high risk, well, these are all triggers that may get Stripe to freeze your money and hold it until they feel more comfortable with your business. Now, I've covered a lot of different things and a lot of different scenarios, and a lot of different business owners fall in these categories. So it is important to understand that these are real risks when you're running your business. And now, if you are in Stripe jail and they are holding your funds and you're contacting support, it is a very frustrating experience. Now, number one thing is that when you're contacting Stripe support, the first few emails are going through their AI, and it's not really a person that is looking at this and trying to make sense of it for you. So this could be a really frustrating experience with, answers that don't really make sense without any clear timelines, and ultimately can result in more time wasted for you. Now, the important thing to keep in mind for this is that you need a different approach. Contacting the regular Stripe support channels are not really going to get you anywhere. They may at some point, but you are delaying the resolution of your case and getting your money back by going through just regular support channels. You need to move into another strategy. Now, let's dive in. How are you going to recover your funds? Here's a step-by-step guide. The first thing that you need to do, although, as I mentioned, you're probably enraged right now and you're wondering, how are you going to get your business to survive if they're holding all your money? But the first thing to do is to gather documentation. When Stripe shuts down your account or suspends your account, they send an email. It may have gone into your junk box, or it may have gone into a support inbox, but they do send an email warning you of this and usually telling you why. For example, your dispute rate has gone up, or that you don't follow their risk policies, whatever the case is. But it is really important for you to find that email and figure out, what is the reason that they input there. It's pretty vague, but it'll give you an idea of what they're looking for in terms of a response. Now, if, for example, you've had very high disputes, well, what you want to do is you want to gather some information on those disputes. You want to gather tracking numbers. You want to gather proof of delivery. You want to gather, anything that you have in terms of the customer accepting the terms and conditions of the sale, your checkout page showing pricing and so forth. So you want to have all these different screenshots ready so you're able to send this as a package to Stripe in order to dispute them holding your money. And what you're doing by gathering these documents is obviously you want to prove to Stripe that, the orders were received by the customers, you fulfilled your end of the bargain, and more importantly, that customers got what they paid for. So by showing them your terms and conditions, privacy policies, checkout page, and so forth, you're showing your customer journey, and you're showing that, if a customer paid, for example, $70 for your product, well, you collected $70, you shipped that product out, and you did your end of the transaction. Now, here's where most business owners get it wrong. They open a ticket and they write something very general and vague like, hey, I need my money, or why are you holding my money? What's going on? So as I said earlier, number one, they send an email and they tell you why they're holding your money. So, opening a general support ticket, doing that is not going to get you any further. It's probably just going to delay by at least 48 hours for you to get a response back with the exact information that they've already sent you. So it is very important that you have, the documentation that I mentioned earlier, and that you write a structured response based on why they put your account on hold or why they're freezing your funds. Now, what you want to do is you don't want to be emotional here. You just want to present facts. So you want to explain what your business does, what you're selling, what the shipping delays are, what customers expect, and just really give a nice summary of what your business is and all the small details that they need to know about how you're selling to your customers. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to attach the proof, for example, of transactions that may have charged back, that they have been shipped, that these are your terms, and so forth. So you want to present a little bit your customer journey, and you don't want to make this too long and too confusing. You have to keep in mind you want a human to review this, so they need to be able to follow along, and they don't know your business, they don't know anything about you, so you need to make sure that it's clear and somebody who doesn't know anything about your business can really follow along. So what your goal by doing this and writing this letter is, you want to sound like a low risk operator, that even if you're in a restricted business type or something considered high risk, that you're running a legitimate business and you have all the things that you need in place to make sure that you're satisfying your customers' requests and you're fulfilling your end of the bargain when you're selling your product or service. Now, if you submit this to support, you give them 1, maximum 2 days to respond to you. If you have not heard back from them and they have not unfrozen your funds and started payments out to you, your next step is to submit a formal demand letter. Now, you don't want to wait weeks to do this. You want to send that support ticket with the information that I said and give them 2 days. If they do not reply, then you have to start preparing your formal demand letter, because you don't want to wait weeks and weeks in order to get canned responses, as I mentioned earlier. Now, a formal demand letter is something that you will type out, but that you will print and sign in wet ink, and you will be mailing that over to Stripe in addition to sending it by email. You want to do both. Now, when you're mailing this letter, you need to make sure that you ask for a signature required and that it's tracked so you have proof that somebody actually received it. And the bonus of doing that is you may actually have a name of somebody who received your letter so you can refer back to them. Now, in this formal demand letter, similar to the ticket that you would open, you do not want to put any emotion like, you guys are really screwing me, I can't believe you did this, or anything like that. You have to keep it as professional as possible. You have to explain what your business does, how this is hurting your business in the sense of like you are unable to keep expenses, you may have to stop operations, or you can't pay your employees. So you want to put some intentional consequences of them holding your money, and you may want to dial it up a little bit by explaining that you understand your rights and that you didn't get enough information for them to be holding your business ransom by holding your money. So you want to escalate it a little bit more than what you had for your ticket, but you don't want to threaten anybody. You don't want to, at this point, threaten legal action. You just want to explain what your business does, how you fulfill your customers. You want to explain that you know your rights and that, this is causing undue damage to your business, and you want to sign it in wet ink, and you want to mail it out to the Stripe office that is closest to you. If you are in the US, that is an office in San Francisco. They have an office in Ireland if you're in Europe. So if you're in the UK, for example, you don't want to be sending that to Stripe US. You want to be sending it to your local Stripe office. Now, once you explain in your demand letter about your business and, the harm that it could be causing your business and that you understand your rights, there's a couple of things that you need to also make sure that you include. So you need to tell them how much money they're holding. It has to really be an exact amount so they know that, you understand what is being held and the consequences of that. Secondly, you want to request the immediate release of your funds. Now, you may want to take a look at what's going on. If you have a lot of chargebacks, for example, coming in and your sales may be dwindling, you may want to ask for half of the money now and half of the money in 30 or 60 days, something that's reasonable. If you ask for all the money now and your chargeback rate is, 4 or 5% and so forth, they may just shut you down completely. So take a look at your risk profile right now. And what you want to do is ask for a reasonable release immediately and maybe another release in 30 or 60 days. But if your chargeback rates are, decent and, it hasn't changed for several months or several years that you've been processing with Stripe, you may want to ask for your money right away. And if this issue has nothing to do with your chargebacks, for example, if they don't like your industry or if you scale too fast, you want to ask for the money right away because they have no reason other than suspicion of a potential problem to hold your money. And also, last but not least, you want to have a little timeline of the events. So for example, if your business scaled up in volume in 1 month and then dropped in volume, you want to give them a little short summary of what happened and the date that they started holding your money. So you can have all this documented and sent out to them with registered mail so they can have a complete picture. Keep in mind, you want to avoid having whoever receives this package in the underwriting or the legal department really have to dig through your account. So you want to put all the facts in that letter. You want to keep it brief. You don't want anything more than 2 pages there outlining everything about your business and the situation at hand. And when Stripe receives a letter, physical mail, it will go either to the risk team or to the legal team. And what I recommend, if possible, is you want to have 2 letters sent out, one to the attention of the risk department and one to the attention of the legal department. Now, you may get both of them looking at it at the same time, which is a bonus for you because that means you're going to get your money back faster. So, make sure that when you write the address, you address it to a specific department. And I highly recommend either the risk department or the legal department, and ideally both, so you can get as many eyes as possible on that letter as quickly as possible. And one important thing is, although everybody's sending emails and that's how, people get support and so forth, by you sending that letter, that will really stick out. So you will get support a lot faster than waiting through the regular support channels. Now, one thing you might want to do, and this is really dependent on your business and how compliant your business is, because there are a lot of businesses that, are honest and ethical and doing things legally, but compliance is a little bit different than legal things. So sometimes there are certain things that, Stripe things are uncompliant, even though it's legal to do it. They may not be allowed in Stripe's terms and conditions. So you may want to take a quick look at Stripe's terms and conditions. And the important thing here is to point out that you are fulfilling your part of the sales process, that you are, sending orders, you have order confirmations, that, you're not mis-selling your product or service and so forth. And if you can prove that, you are not doing anything that violates their risk procedures, that also could be an important part to include in your letter. So take a look at Stripe's terms and conditions. And the important thing for you also to remember is that in Stripe's terms and conditions, they explicitly say that, if you are running a lawful business, obviously if you're doing something illegal, that's completely off the map. But if you are running a legal business, they cannot keep your funds indefinitely. They keep it quite vague just so they can have, an open loop, but per their terms and conditions, they can keep it up to 9 months. What your goal is with your letter is to get it reduced as much as possible and try to get as much as possible immediately. Now, keep in mind, if you send that letter and you don't get a positive response, or they tell you, unfortunately, that your funds are going to be held longer, there is a department in Stripe, which is called the arbitration department, and it is your right as a business owner working with Stripe to ask for your case to be seen in arbitration. Now, keep in mind a few things for arbitration. Compliance is key. If your website is not compliant, or you're making false claims, or you're selling things at a price that's not advertised, well, obviously you will fail arbitration. But most merchants are being honest about what they're selling and so forth. So if you can't make any headway with that letter and so forth, you may want to ask for arbitration, and it is your right as a business owner using Stripe to ask for that arbitration. In my experience, most cases don't have to get that far. Usually when you send that letter, you give them about 5, maximum 10 business days to reply to you, but they do reply to letters that are sent to them. So usually within that 5 to 10 business days, you will get a response back and you can decide what action to take. Arbitration is usually unnecessary. Most of the time, what they'll do is they'll try to negotiate a timeline to return your funds. And as I mentioned earlier, you have to take an honest look at your chargeback rates and your refund rates. If they're very high, you don't want to ask for all the money right away. You're going to just create more friction. So, be logical. And if your chargeback rates are very high, maybe ask for 50% of the money now and more of it later. You can do 50% now, 25% in 30 days, and then maybe the rest after 90 or 120 days. So if you show a reasonable approach in getting your money back, Stripe will be more cognizant of that and try to negotiate with you. And as I mentioned, if you send a letter, you will get a response within 5 to 10 business days. But if they don't respond and you're really stuck, what you want to do is maybe go through arbitration, or at least mention that you will ask for a formal arbitration process. Now, the most important thing is for you to prepare an exit strategy. Even if you get your money back or you have some kind of payment plan for Stripe, don't go about your business as usual and continue processing with Stripe. This is a very big warning for you and your business that you need to find a payment processor that's willing to support your business, that understands your business vertical and is willing to work with you. So you may want to have Stripe there as one potential provider, but you need to get yourself a backup. So it is very important as you're trying to get your money back from Stripe to be looking for an alternative. If you need help with that, my company, Direct PayNet, we work with tons of high-risk merchants, and we've been doing it for almost 17 years. So we can definitely help you with that. But, there are certain payment processors for specific industries, and not all payment processors support all industries. So it's important to find somebody that can work with you and that you can explain your business to clearly, and they'll be able to onboard you without you having to hide details or not explain your business clearly. Now, once you've dealt with all of this and have sent your letters and so forth, what you want to do is prevent this from happening in the future. Whether you're working with Stripe or other payment processors, chargebacks and risk and liability are things that payment processors look really closely with. Now, Stripe may be a little bit more picky, but it doesn't mean that working with your own merchant account or payment processor will not get you into any trouble. You need to make sure that you lower chargebacks as much as possible, that you have clear policies about fulfillment, customer service, that you're shipping orders on time. So make sure that you clean house as quickly as possible to prevent this from happening in the future. And most importantly, choose a payment processor that works with your business. If you are on a payment processor's restricted list or prohibited list, that is not a payment processor that you want to trick into working with you. I guarantee you, if you are working legally with a legal business type, there is a payment processor out there to support you. As I mentioned, my company, Direct PayNet, we support tons of merchants in high-risk niches. So all you have to do is tell us what you're selling, and we will find a way to help you with your payment processing. Now, keep in mind, even though this is a scary time and you may be relying on money that's being held by Stripe to keep your business afloat, is that one thing is that you do have options. There are other options out there, and you will get your money from Stripe. Stripe cannot hold your money indefinitely. And if you position yourself properly by first opening a ticket with the strategic information I mentioned, and then if that doesn't work, then going ahead and sending that letter, then I can guarantee you that you will get a response and you will start getting your money flowing in. In the meantime, get yourself a backup and make sure that your business is running as quickly as possible. The key here is to be structured, not emotional. You never want to have emotion here. How things make you feel and so forth will just muddy the waters. And it's important that you follow up very timely, that you don't let these things drag and you're not waiting around for responses for days on end. And last but not least, if you have to escalate and really, push further, then don't forget that you have arbitration as an option, as a last option, I should say, in order to try to recover your funds. And last thing, I will put some strategic email addresses, and the main address for the European and the US office for Stripe. But keep in mind, these things change often, and Stripe does from time to time change their email addresses if too many people get to know, specific emails and so forth. So you do have to do your own research and take a look to make sure that the email addresses and the contact information are valid for your specific situation. If you have any questions, or if I can help you with anything regarding your Stripe account, feel free to drop me a line down below. Thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to press that like button so I can create more amazing content for you and your business. Have yourself a great day.